The book is The Big Miss. He is Hank Haney, of course, part of the Haney Project as well, golf instructor joining us at the Dan Patrick Show. How long did you work with Tiger, Hank?
6 years.
And at what point did you say, I have something that would make for a great book?
Oh, I mean, right away I knew that there's a lot of special things about Tiger Woods, that he was a very complex person and an incredible champion that was much different than any player I'd ever coached. I've coached 200 players on the PGA Tour, but no one even close to Tiger Woods.
How were you hired by him?
He just called me up and said, Hank, would you help me with my game?
How did he fire you?
He didn't fire me. I resigned, and it was after the U.S. or the Augusta at the 2010 Masters on Describe It. That's kind of the first chapter in my book. Was the last time I ever worked with Tiger, and I resigned in May. But the last time I ever worked with Tiger was at Augusta on the Sunday of the Masters in 2010.
What brought it to a boil at Augusta that you felt like you couldn't do it anymore?
6 years is just a long time to be in a coach. I think of, any great team, great player. I just felt like there's just a time and a place for everything. And I just knew it was time for me to leave.
More frustrating, Tiger the golfer, Tiger the person?
Really neither. I mean, when I coached, I didn't really look at it that way. I mean, I just tried to get my point across. Honestly, I never got frustrated with either one.
But it's got to be difficult. You get this chance. You're not getting paid a lot, and you're going to be coaching one of the greats, if not the greatest golfer of all time. But how much input, how frustrating. When he didn't win, it was your fault. When he did win, it was because of him. I mean, it's a no-win situation, I think, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I would probably tend to agree with you, but by the same token, I really looked at it just as an incredible challenge. I mean, it was just, he was such a complex individual, and I thought this is the ultimate challenge. This is the ultimate learning experience, and I didn't allow it to be frustrating.
Why wouldn't he have you sign a non-disclosure?
That's a good question. I mean, to my knowledge, most of the people or all the people that work for him do have one, but I didn't have one.
I can understand doing something on Tiger the golfer, but I thought that we started to sort of venture into gossip a little bit. At what point? I mean, you could have told a lot more salacious details, but you told enough. What made you stop there, or what made you include it in the first place?
Well, I wanted to write an honest book. I mean, if it was everything that was positive in there, then it wouldn't have been an honest book. And what I tried to do is provide enough details that gave context to Tiger as a golfer and everything that made up the complexities that I feel make him such a great champion. So, when you take certain sentences out of context out of the book and put them all on one page, it can look gossipy. But as people are now reading the book and reviewing the book, I mean, I haven't heard any person describe it that way, as a whole.
Yeah, but you're talking about something as simple as he gets a popsicle and you didn't get a popsicle, and why wouldn't he give you a popsicle? Or Tiger eats, and then when he gets done, everybody else gets up. These are all things that people around Tiger know that this is what he's like. Why are you surprised that he was like this?
Well, I wasn't surprised that he was like this, but those two stories were to frame, the point in the book about his self-centeredness and how that was a big part of his greatness, and that to be that great, being self-centered was an asset to being that great. And that popsicle story didn't really have anything to do with him not getting me a popsicle. Matter of fact, he looked at me like, why in the world are you even asking me whether you can get a popsicle? Just go get one. And I was thinking, because most people would have offered you one. But that story is just to illustrate his self-centeredness and how it fits into the whole package that is Tiger Woods. And every story in the book has some purpose in doing that.
He's Hank Haney, golf instructor. The book is The Big Miss, joining us at the Dan Patrick Show. Brandel Chambly, Golf Channel yesterday, said Tiger lacks humanity. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, that would be hard for me to say. I mean, he's definitely different. I mean, but I think deep down, I think that it's in there. I think that maybe he lacks the willingness to, or the ability to show, the depth of his humanity. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I think polite way of saying that he lacks humanity. Right?
I don't know. I mean, definitely in some cases, I could see how people could draw that conclusion.
Are you going to cross paths with Tiger anytime soon?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
How would that go?
Well, it'd be fine with me. I'm not, sure how he would feel, but I mean, I have no obviously animosity towards Tiger. I mean, that was probably the greatest thing that could ever happen to me in my career, to have an opportunity to work with Tiger. And I know that if he reads the book, and he says he won't, but he reads everything, that in his heart of hearts, he would have to say that that's an accurate, portrayal of what happened.
You also talk about he wanted to be viewed as an athlete and not a golfer, and he seemed to bulk up. Navy SEALs, and did he get hurt working with these guys? And you said you talked to somebody, you had sources with this, but the whole weightlifting thing. And working with a doctor who wasn't licensed to practice here in the United States, Dr. Glia. Whispers about Tiger with performance enhancing. Did that topic ever come up with you and him?
It never came up, and I never really thought for any time, any moment that Tiger was ever involved in any of that.
But weightlifting, I mean, he's jacked. He doesn't look like a golfer, but at one point or at any point, did you say he seems to be more concerned with how he looks than how he's playing?
No, I definitely thought that. Yes, I mean I thought he's getting very big, and I even addressed it with him. I said you just wait till you get too big before you decide you're too big. I mean, this is kind of what your pattern is. I mean, why do you need to be this big to play golf? You look like a linebacker, not a golfer. But and I wasn't the only one that had that concern. His doctors had that concern that maybe he was too big for his frame.
Well, how did he react when you said that?
Tiger doesn't react when he doesn't want to hear something. I mean, he'll just kind of give you a look. He'll just look at you, or he won't respond. Or you wonder what's he thinking.
What's that feeling like when he doesn't win a tournament and he blames you, and then he freezes you out?
As a coach, you kind of realize that that's part of the deal. But that wouldn't be the most enjoyable part of coaching.
If you were going to bet that he catches Jack, would you?
I wouldn't bet against him. Let's put it that way. I think he needs to win a major this year. This is going to be a big year for him. If he doesn't win this year, he'll have gone 4 years without a major. And like I point out in the last chapter in the Big Miss, I mean, time starts catching up to you. But I wouldn't put it by him. He's got to putt good, though. He putted well last week, finished fourth in putting. Every winner on the PGA Tour this year has finished top 10 in putting for that particular week. So he's got to have a good putting week to get a major. But I wouldn't bet against him. And
how much credit do you take for his win this past weekend?
For motivating him?
I don't know.
I probably got a little credit for motivating him. I mean, a little bit. I'm sure it spurred him on. I mean, every great athlete finds things to motivate them. You see it all the time, and it probably did motivate him a little bit.
I have to be honest, though, Hank, because I just thought you lowered yourself a little bit because you're a legendary figure, golf instructor, the Haney Project. I don't know, and maybe I'm not being fair, having not read everything in the book, but reading chapters, but I'm just surprised at that.
Well, I mean, I appreciate your opinion, but, obviously I had a different one, and we'll just have to agree to disagree there.
Yeah. Did you hear from any other instructors or any other golfers about, what negative reaction have you got?
Well, I mean, the negative reaction has been based on the single-sentence excerpts, but now that people are reading the book, the reaction is overwhelmingly positive, and people, think that I've written about golf history, and they appreciate the book.
Love the Haney project, and if you can do something with Adam Levine, you couldn't do anything with Barkley, but if you can do something with Adam, then you're creating a masterpiece there. That might be you got your work cut out for you there. You don't take any easy projects there.
No. Well, you might be next after I heard that shot you hit in the break there.
No, that was a good shot, Hank. I hit it pure.
All right.
But I'm going to freeze you out if I don't hit well. I'm going to blame you.
All right. Thanks for having me, Dan.
All right, bud. That's Hank Haney, golf instructor. The Big Miss.